हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय चैनल। आज हम करेंगे इंट्रोडक्शन पोएम बाय कमला दास। ये MEG 7 है, ब्लॉक 7 पोइट्री है और यूनिट 4 है। लेट अस स्टार्ट। सबसे पहले हम रीड करेंगे इस पोएम को। I don't know politics, but I know the names of those in power and can repeat them like days of week and names of months beginning with Nehru. I am Indian, very brown, born in Malabar. I speak 3 languages. Write in 2, dream in 1. Don't write in English, they said. English is not your mother tongue. Why not leave me alone, critics, friends, visiting cousins, every one of you? Why not let me speak in any language I like? The language I speak becomes mine, its distortions, its Queernesses means strange habits. All mine, mine alone. It is half English, half Indian. Funny perhaps, but it is honest. It is as human as I am human. Don't you see? It voices my joys, my longings, my hopes, and it is useful to me as cawing is to crows or roaring to the lions. It is human speech, the speech of the mind that is here and not there, a mind that sees and hears and is aware, not the deaf, blind speech of trees in storm, or of monsoon clouds, or of rain, or the incoherent mutterings of the blazing funeral pyre. I was child, and later they told me I grew, for I became tall. My limbs swelled, and 1 or 2 places sprouted here. When I asked for love, not knowing what else to ask for, he drew a youth of 16 into the bedroom and closed the door. He did not beat me, but my sad woman body felt so beaten. The weight of my breasts and wombs crushed me. I shrank pitifully. Then I wore a shirt and my brother's trousers, cut my hair short, and ignored my womanliness. Dress in saris, be girl, be wife, they said. Be embroiderer, be cook, be a quarreler with servants, fit in. Oh, belong, cried the categorizers. Don't sit on walls or peep in through our lace draped windows. Be Amy or be Kamla, or better still, be Madhavi Kuti. Madhavi Kuti. It is time to choose a name, a role. Don't play pretending games. Don't play at schizophrenia or be a nympho. Don't cry embarrassingly loud when jilted in love. I met a man, loved him. Call him not by any name. He is every man who wants a woman, just as I am every woman who seeks love. In him, the hungry haste of rivers, in me, the oceans tireless, waiting. Who are you? I ask each and every one. The answer is, it is I. Everywhere and everywhere I see the one who calls himself I. In this world he is tightly packed, the sword in its sheath. It is I who drink lonely drinks at 12 midnight in hotels of strange towns. It is I who laugh. It is I who make love and then feel shame. It is I who lie dying with a rattle in my throat. I am sinner, I am saint, I am the beloved and the betrayed. I have no joys that are not yours, no aches which are not yours. I too call myself I. ओके यहाँ तो हम फिनिश करते हैं इस पोएम को। बाकी इसका एनालिसिस हम थोड़ा पढ़ेंगे अभी। An introduction, let us start now. This loosely structured poem of 59 lines is from Summer in Calcutta. There is no visible rhyme scheme, nor is Das using meter consistently. Line breaks are dictated by natural pauses or breaks in meaning. There is a certain disjointedness in this poem. मतलब जो lines है ना वो joint नहीं हुई हैं, which makes it more conversational and immediate. तो किसी ने बोला है, किंग करके हैं, इन दास पोइट्री द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन द पोइट एंड द पोइट्री इज कोलैप्स्ड. This is how the confessional element in the poetry operates at the technical level. There is a certain disjointedness in this poem. ऐसा पहले भी हमने बात की ना, अभी बोला. Notice that the first sentence, I don't know politics. फिर ये आई डोंट नो पॉलिटिक्स से लेके नेहरू तक है ना, ये आई डोंट नो पॉलिटिक्स बट आई नो द नेम्स ऑफ दोज इन पावर एंड कैन रिपीट दैम लाइक डेज ऑफ वीक और नेम्स ऑफ मंथ्स बिगिनिंग विद नेहरू हैज़ नथिंग टू डू विद द सेकेंड. मतलब ये सेंटेंस का सेकेंड सेंटेंस से कोई मतलब नहीं है. द पोएम में एज वेल हैव बिगिन विथ आई एम इंडियन, वेरी ब्राउन, born in Malabar. But the first sentence has an oblique connection with the subject of the poem. The poet disclaims any special knowledge of politics so as to provide an artistic and autobiographical rational logic for the language of a creative expression, English. In other words, this poem is a defense, if not an apology, for writing in English. Now, writing in English is more than just a cultural or artistic choice. It has its politics as well. Or, at any rate, the issue of writing in English has been politicized for more than 100 years. वो डिफेंड कर रही हैं कि मैंने इंग्लिश में लिखा है तो कोई बुरी बात नहीं है, इसमें कोई ये ना सोचे कि कुछ पॉलिटिक्स है, या मैं माफ़ी नहीं मांग रही हूँ. Now, to speak out against this, the first thing that Das does is to claim an apolitical position for herself. मतलब वो बोल रही है पॉलिटिकल कोई एजेंडा नहीं है मेरा इंग्लिश में लिखने का. She couldn't care less about politics and politicians, she implies. वो बोलती हैं कि ज़्यादा केयर नहीं करती हैं वो पॉलिटिक्स की या पॉलिटिशियंस की. This indifference then gets translated into a demand for artistic and personal freedom of expression. अगर पॉलिटिक्स का कोई हाथ नहीं है या पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में ज़्यादा नहीं सोचती हैं तो मतलब वो आर्टिस्टिकली वो चाहती हैं इंग्लिश में लिखना, या उनका पर्सनल फ्रीडम है उनकी कि वो इंग्लिश में लिखना चाहती हैं. तो वो बोलती हैं, वाई नॉट लीव मी अलोन क्रिटिक्स, फ्रेंड्स, विजिटिंग कजन्स, एवरी वन ऑफ यू, वाई नॉट लेट मी स्पीक इन एनी लैंग्वेज आई लाइक. ये पोएम से लिया गया है. नाउ there is a certain frustration, anger, even at attempts by others to control or restrict her. जब उनको कोई मना करता है ना कि इंग्लिश में मत लिखो, तो ये फ्रस्ट्रेशन इन लाइंस में बताई गई हैं. Now, the poem goes on to become an elaborate justification of the kind of poetry she writes and the kind of language she writes it in. जैसे कि वो बोलती हैं, the language I speak becomes mine, its distortions, its curenesses क्या बताया था मैंने, strange habits, all mine alone. It is half English, half Indian, funny perhaps, but it is honest. It is human as I am human. Don't you see? Now, Indian English, both linguistically and culturally hybrid and half caste, is defended passionately. In a society obsessed with hierarchy and purity, even something of privileged status such as English becomes subaltern when we begin to write poetry in it. Such an act is seen almost as a betrayal, an evidence of bad faith. Now, but the poem is a plea for more than artistic freedom or for expression in Indian English. There is a passion in the appeal which comes for a defiance of those who wish to silence the poet. I am a human being, the poet screams, and I have a right to my voice. No one should try to silence me. My voice is like the cawing of kaa karte na crow, cawing of crows and the roaring of lions. If you do not deny them the right to their voices, why are you trying to silence me? जब आप उनको नहीं चुप करवा सकते तो मुझे क्यों चुप करवा रहे हो? The subtext is clear. Are you trying to gag me because I am a woman? The silencing of the voices of women and of the oppressed is a common fact of the history of all civilizations. It is the elites, the culture defining groups, which always speak on behalf of their less privileged fellows. Uh, Das wants to break this stranglehold, and she says, "Let me speak, don't try to shut me up." Okay. After she creates such space to speak, she begins to tell her story. What is this story? अब क्या है story? It is of a lonesome child growing up on her own. In the background are incoherent muttering of blazing funeral pyre, signifying the loss of loved one. There is a quick growth into puberty and suddenly a terrible accident, marriage. When the poet asks for love, all she gets is versions of marital rape. आई एम यूजिंग ब्लंट वर्ड्स बिकॉज मतलब हेयर जो भी बोल रहे हैं वो बहुत ही ब्लंट वर्ड्स यूज़ कर रहे हैं बिकॉज द टेक्स्ट वारंट्स दैम. We must bear in mind here that the speaker is just 16 years old, legally still a minor. At this stage, she is perhaps totally unprepared for sex. But marriage gives the legal sanction to a man to impose his will on what in this case is a child's body. The aftermath, the result is clearly spelled out. He didn't beat me, but my sad woman body felt so beaten. This experience seems to be a crucial one for the poet. She creates a wound in her psyche which never heals. It leads to immense self-loathing and attempts to escape from herself. Now the poet tries to deny her femininity by dressing like a man, cutting her hair short and so on. Actually, the revulsions में जो hatred है seems to stem from what men do to women. Again, the imposition of social norms, dress in sari, be girl, be wife, this that. The whole package is flung at her. Embroider, keep house, quarrel with servants, but above all, fit in. Clearly, however, the poet is a misfit, if there is one. She rebels, not consciously or deliberately, but compulsively and traumatically. The next stanza shows a great incoherence, suggestive of a breakdown in personality. Compulsive behavior, schizophrenia, nymphomania, and then the inevitable reaching out to another man, the rejection that follows, and a devastating indictment of male sex. He is every man, ये poem में से लिया गया है. He is every man who wants a woman, and it is I who drinks lonely drinks at 12 midnight in hotels in strange towns. The poem ends on an uncertain note, the poet seeking not much more than to survive, to earn the right to simply by called I. Thank you so much. इसमें हमने 13 minutes का ये है. ओके, जस्ट वेट. एक और पोएम हम साथ में कर लेते हैं. माई ग्रैंड मदर्स हाउस. ये बहुत छोटी सी पोएम है. देर इज़ अ हाउस नाउ फार अवे. मैं पोएम पढ़ रही हूँ. देर इज़ अ हाउस नाउ फार अवे वेयर वंस आई रिसीव लव. दैट वुमेन डाइड. द हाउस विथड्रू इन टू साइलेंस. स्नेक्ड मूव्ड among books. I was then too young to read, and my blood turned cold like the moon. How often I think of going there to peer through the blind eyes of window, or just listen to the frozen air, or in wild despair, pick an armful of darkness to bring it here to lie. चलो, यहाँ पे ये पोएम फिनिश होती है. आई थिंक सो. जस्ट लेट मी सी. नहीं, थोड़ा और है. Behind my bedroom, like a brooding dog, you cannot believe, darling. Can you that I lived in such a house and was proud and loved? I who have lost my way and beg now at strangers' doors to receive love, at least in small change. ओके, यहाँ ये बहुत छोटी सी पोएम है. चलो हम इसको थोड़ा एनालाइज करते हैं अब. This well-known poem, again from Summer in Calcutta, speaks of what we might call the pre-lapsarian stage. It harks back to the childhood of the poet, the security of a grandmother's house, where the self of the poet attains some sort of integrity. In that sense, it refers to a time before the rupture, the dislocation that we have seen so vividly described in the previous poem. प्रीवियस पोएम कौन सी थी, हमने इंट्रोडक्शन की, उसकी बात कर रहे हैं. द पोएम 16 लाइन्स लॉन्ग इज अ सस्टेन्ड डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड दस more tightly knit. The main features of the poem is that the poet is loved there. That is what, as we may remember, the speaker wanted in the previous poem, but was practically raped instead. No? It might be dangerous to see the poetic persona as one continues self across different poets, but in Kamla Das' case, it is possible, even useful. That the poems are from the same collection adds to the utility and justifiability of such an approach. But of course, we shouldn't overdo this interpretative ploy. To revert to the poem, in addition to love, the security of being cared for, there is the whole world of books, suggestive of so many possibilities. The house in Malabar thus not only symbolizes security and integrity but also imagination and youth. Here the poet, though somewhat lonely, is free to dream her own fantasies to fulfill, you know, and her desires to be connected to a more interesting world. The last part of the poem is actually an address to what might be considered the poet's husband. The clue is not just the endearment, darling, but the whole sense of explanation and justification that the poet offers. She says, "Can you believe that I am proud and loved? I who have lost my way and beg now at strangers' door to receive love, at least in small change." The last two lines are terribly poignant. The speaker has been reduced to begging for love in small change at strangers' doors. What a contrast from the loved, protected, and proud child that we see in the first part of the poem. Now, as a critic or a careful reader, we should never take any text at surface value. If we were in your ये बोल रहे हैं कि I were in your shoes, I would once ask if the poet is exaggerating both the idealization of the childhood as she does the degradation of the present. Okay, चलो ये ख़त्म होता है. That way we will begin to pry open the hidden curves of meaning lurking beneath the surface, and perhaps even go on to construct what appears to be the official meaning that the poem seeks to promote. ओके, थैंक यू सो मच. मैं इसको ना लाइन बाय लाइन एक्सप्लेनेशन पूरी पोएम की करूँगी. ओके, थैंक यू सो मच. प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब माय चैनल.